So we have with us Miss Anne Wilson, the head of sales of the historic royal palaces, and she's here to narrate her unique story as to what this whole experience is all about and its connect for the Indian audience.
So we look after the Tower of London, Hampton Court Palace, Kensington Palace, Banqueting House at Whitehall, Kew Palace and Hillsborough Castle and Gardens, which is actually in Northern Ireland.
And why do you have faith in the India market vis-a-vis your product?
The history at Hampton Court Palace, we've just opened a new display about the Indian Army that were encamped at the palace at the turn of the 19th, 20th century to take part in the various celebrations for the Jubilee of Queen Victoria, coronations, and then the last event was the celebrations at the end of the First World War. So they were encamped at Hampton Court Palace whilst they were then taken to central London to be part of those parades. So the photographs and the stories around those soldiers that were living there are brought to life for visitors. And similarly at the Tower of London, of course, we've always had the connection with the Kohinoor diamond, which sits within the crown jewels, and we've not shied away now in the representation from telling that story of who's owned it over the centuries, where it travelled, who fought over it, why it ended up at the Tower of London. We don't suggest whether that's right or wrong, but that's the history. We can't change the history, we can bring it to life, and we can make it accessible for all our visitors, and in this case particularly our Indian visitors.
Wonderful. And you also mentioned this very special place which is going to open up in the March of 2024, the Orangery.
Yes, that's at Kensington Palace. So Kensington Palace was the birthplace of Queen Victoria. And it's a great attraction on the west side of Hyde Park in central London. And within the grounds there is the Orangery. So this was built in the 1700s for Queen Anne. And it's a delightful waiter service restaurant overlooking the gardens, where you can have your high tea, your afternoon tea. So served on the traditional high platter with your scones, your jam, your cream, your little sandwiches and cakes, and the lovely pots of tea with the china cups, etc. So you can go home and tell your friends you've had tea at the palace.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anne. This was a nice capsule of the entire experience, and we hope to see a lot of Indians coming to you.
I hope so too.